Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is your Vedic astrology coach, Rajat Kapoor, and welcome to my channel, The Legit Astrologer. This is the second part of my video on global predictions. On 3rd of April, I released the part 1, where I made some significant predictions with regards to some global events, natural calamities, and from an environment point of view, what we can expect. So I'd like to follow up on my previous video and also some of the predictions that were made in the past that came to reality. So one of the predictions that came to reality was the Myanmar earthquake. On 16th of March, I made this prediction that there will be at least two mid to high intensity earthquakes around the Myanmar region. And on 28th of March, we did witness two powerful earthquakes shaking the region and, of course, the surrounding areas. And there was a significant loss of life in the country, and, of course, a significant damage as well that we have witnessed. It was extremely sad event, and of course, we should not, expect these kind of events to happen. As much as I would hope such predictions to always go wrong, but I also feel that it is my duty to perhaps raise awareness if there are certain similar transits from an astrological point of view, historical transits, which I notice. It is my duty to probably bring this to everyone's attention, and this is something which I am doing. So the intention of making this video is not to fearmonger, to not to create a sense of unrest or insecurity, but to create awareness so that we could probably be safe during these times and exercise utmost caution. Another prediction that came true was that I predicted there will be floods in Central Europe and Southern China. This is something I did on 3rd of April. In my April's video, I made a prediction that Central Europe, particularly Romania and Southern China, this is expected to happen before July. On 30th of May, several areas were flooded in Romania, and on 1st of June, several areas of the Yunnan province in southern China were hit with floods, displacing thousands of people and affecting the property, affecting number of houses, displacement. Of course, these are very unfortunate events, and I hope the rescue teams are working to the benefit of people. And of course, we hope that there is very minimum loss of life in such events. Now, moving forward, what we can expect, what could happen for the region, what could happen in the region and in the world, June and July 2025 primarily. Historical astrological transits suggest that there could be a possibility of an earthquake and tsunami kind of situation within the Southeast Asia region. This is something I mentioned in my previous video as well, and of course, I stand by my prediction. As much as I hope that this prediction should turn out to be wrong. So, Indonesia and the surrounding belt is at a potential threat. North of New Zealand and east of Australia are also few of those regions which are under a threat of an earthquake or a tsunami kind of situation. Let's hope that the intensity is not very high. So this is the belt that I would expect, and the surrounding areas in and around the Java Sea. And here I would expect Tonga, Fiji, and of course, certain regions that are east of Australia, north of New Zealand, which could be at risk. So thankfully, there are a cluster of islands. There should be, minimum collateral damage, I presume, and that is something we should expect. So let's hope the intensity is not very high, and of course, exercise utmost caution and pray for everyone's safety. What else can we expect 2025 in terms of certain global predictions and calamities? So based on historical astrological transits, south, southwestern, and southeastern regions are at potential risk of thunderstorms, cyclones, hurricanes, tornadoes across the US, Europe, and the Asia Pacific region. So these are some of the regions which are under certain risk. There could also be a mid-intensity earthquake in the western part of the US around San Francisco belt in California. Now, this area has been historically a seismic active zone, and the transits are very similar to 1989. Let's hope that the intensity is not high and we pray for everyone's safety. So, this is the belt where I would expect tornadoes, hurricanes, cyclone, This could be a mid to high intensity and also an earthquake. In terms of transits, it's a very similar transit that is happening for the next 2 months compared to what happened in 1989. Rahu and Ketu were in Aquarius and Leo, where Mars was conjoined Leo. Jupiter was making a transit in Gemini in Ardra Nakshatra, which is related to thunderstorms. It has got very moist energies. And the deity that is Rudra is the god of storms. Saturn at that point in time was in Sagittarius, a dual sign. This time Saturn is in Pisces. In 1989, the intensity was very high because Mars and Saturn at this point in time were sharing a trinal relationship. And this time they're sharing an 8-6 relationship. So I expect the intensity to not be very high, but we must exercise utmost caution and spread the awareness. I genuinely hope that my predictions come out to be absolutely wrong, because these are some of the disasters and calamities that we do not hope to happen for the best interest of humanity. But at the same time, let's continue to do what we can to protect our mother nature. There is a greater level of awareness that is needed around this time in order to ensure that we do our bit to protect the nature in every way possible for us. Plant trees and stand against cutting of trees, deforestation, and some of the other things that we could do, which is in our hands. And to end at a good note, I'd like to call a prayer to Lord Vishnu for sustenance. It goes like Madhyata Vyadipam Dugda Sindhu Kanyadhvam Dhiya Dhiyayami Sadvaham Buddhi Shuddhi Vriddhi Chasiddhe. This prayer really strengthens our pillars of life, which is the four kendras in the astrological chart, in the Vedic chart. First house of enlightenment, the fourth house of purification, the seventh house of improvement, and the 10th house of perfection. Putting your dharma, artha, kama, and moksha all in place in terms of purifying at the greater level. Therefore, focusing on all the four Purusharthas or the pillars of life, most importantly. Towards the end of the day, karma definitely is our birthright, but we do not have the right over its fruits. So let's continue to do our karma, do our good deeds, and spread the awareness. Thank you very much. God bless you all.